Hey, what's up guys, it's Dan here from Table Tennis Daily, and today I'm joined alongside England #1 Paul Drinkhall to review and look at the new Tibhar Aurus Prime and Select rubbers. These were released in the latter part of 2017 and are Tibhar's most advanced rubbers yet, with both rubbers using a thicker sponge and thinner top sheet combo, which a lot of other manufacturers seem to be doing at the moment. Tibhar are calling this SSP technology, which stands for supersized pad. Traditionally, table tennis rubbers have a sponge thickness of 2.1mm, however the new Prime and Select have a thickness of 2.3mm, which is designed to make more use of the rubber's sponge on impact. This is done to suit the plastic ball and is meant to give you more dwell and spin. The rubbers both come in rarely seen sponge colours, with the Prime having a purple sponge and the Select with a pink sponge. The rubbers come in a new style of packaging that we haven't seen before. The seal is pretty unique. The two rubbers differ by the sponge hardness, with the Prime being harder, coming in at 47.5 degrees, and the Select being 45 degrees in sponge hardness. The weight of the Prime, when uncut, weighs 69 grams, which is slightly heavier than the Select, which weighs 65 grams. Throughout the review, myself and Paul tried the Prime and Select rubbers on the Drinkhall carbon blade and compared them to the Evolution series, in particular the MXP rubber that Paul currently uses, and also the original Aurus rubber. Both the Prime and Select rubbers give off that loud clicky sound that you find in modern tensor rubbers, like the Evolution series. The Prime was definitely faster than the Select, with a medium to hard sponge, and gives you more of a catapult effect, and was surprisingly controllable.
Go!
The Select, on the other hand, even though it doesn't have a greatly reduced sponge hardness, feels much softer than the Prime, and the effects are quite obvious. Paul said he had to brush the ball more with his strokes and couldn't go directly through the ball with the Select. It was quite noticeable with the Prime, it was a lot more firmer and we can play strongly through the ball.
Oh!
We both found the rubbers worked really well on the backhand side, making it difficult for one another. Using compact backhand topspin or backhand punch shots were effective. The thicker sponge put a lot of quality on the ball and safety.
He's even able to block my backhand with that rubber, it must be good.
I think it's just rebounding and hoping for the best.
Go.
In this area of the review we looked at forehand open-ups against backspin. Here I am using the Prime and it was pretty good. I was able to get some good spin against backspin. But one thing that blew my mind away was how ridiculously well Paul was counter topspinning my shots. I mean, just look here, every time I'm opening up, he's just countering it past me. I was able to get a good amount of spin with the Prime. Not as much as, let's say, the MXP, but the good thing with the Prime, it was easy to open up. I think with the thicker sponge, it did give you a lot of dwell, and a lot of cushion and soak into the ball, so when I was opening up, I could really feel the ball. That was a really good element about the rubber.
Yeah, I'll have another little play around, see what... For me, I think this one, the Prime, feels a little bit spinnier. Again, I don't know if it just suits my game a little bit more, but I find when I'm going into the ball, I'm able to create that spin, whereas with that one, it's not dying off, but it's that little bit slower. I feel that the Select gives you that, a lot of control. I played the shot there and I thought, oh, that's a really good shot, but it didn't quite have the spin on it, but it stayed low to the net. Whereas this one, it's a little bit more difficult to keep it lower to the net, but you do create that spin. So I think because I've got quite a fast shot anyway, I'm able to create that dip and keep it low to the net myself. This one would definitely be the one for me if I was to change from MXP, the Prime.
So in this area of the review we compared the Prime to the MXP and then the MXP to the Select. So first up, the Prime. Paul demonstrated how he felt the MXP is a faster rubber where the ball flew off the end of the table on occasions, whereas the Prime was a slightly more tamed version. The MXP is far more direct and firm, whereas the Prime produces a higher arc on the ball during topspins.
So with this one, I think it's still very good. You're still getting that spin and things. It's just that little bit slower. So like there, my backhand went in the net 'cause I'm used to the MXP and it pings off a little bit more. Yeah. I think to create the power, you have to either take it really early or have quite a long shot. As the MXP, because it's harder, it's pinging off quicker anyway. I think it's a good starting point. It's that little bit slower so you can develop your technique and your style, and then when you feel that's fairly fixed you could change to the MXP to try and get that little bit extra help with the speed and the power. I think this is where this rubber is very good, because with the flip you do need a lot of control because you're trying to do a really quick action, which it's a short space that you've got. And this rubber's allowing me to, the ball sinks in a little bit, so I can have the time on the ball that I need. Whereas with the MXP it's a little bit more difficult because it is almost as it's hitting the rubber, you have to have a lot of feeling to try and hold it there. Quite naturally it's springing off quite quickly. So to get the control from that little short shot is quite difficult with the MXP. Yeah. I'll try some flicks with the MXP. See, straight, it's only a slight difference, but I'm normally used to that because I've done a few flicks with that. It just springs off the rubber quick. Should be able to change to this one for a backhand flick. Quickly change it to the MXP for the point, yeah. See there, when you do catch it, I find you get a lot more spin from the MXP, but it's a lot more difficult to control the shot. Yes! So Dan, now we're going to look at the MXP that I usually use versus the Select. Go! Try a few with the Select. That, for me again, I mean obviously preference wise I prefer the MXP. I think, say for me normally I'm able to keep the control in the shot. With the MXP, that just gives you a little bit more spring, a little bit more power off the rubber. I feel when I'm here, if I do the same shot with this, the ball's going a lot further and a lot closer to the white line. With the black rubber, which is the Select, when I'm top spinning, it's good, it's getting the control and the arc over the net. I find it's drifting a little bit short. And again, that's probably just because I'm used to the MXP. But I find maybe for the younger players or the players starting to try and get control, get technique, I think this is a good rubber to try and create a good technique and a good style. And then you can maybe step up to the MXP to try and keep winning the points and get the power.
We then compared the Aurus Prime to the original Aurus, and it was clear that the Prime beats its predecessor in all departments and is a definite improvement on its original. It has more speed, more spin, as well as more control and feeling due to the higher quality sponge and top sheet.
Oh, perfect. Yeah, it's got a lot more to it, hasn't it? You say that was quite hard work to get the same shot out of it.
We finished off our testing by going back to comparing the Prime and Select during topspin to topspin rallies away from the table.
Go! Go! With this, the Select, I feel a little bit like I'm not getting any power from the rubber. So like, I feel it's quite hard work for me to try and get the power. Yeah, immediately I can feel the difference. It's a lot quicker. See there, the difference with the Select. I was sort of having to create the power myself, but the dip was coming naturally. Whereas here, the power's coming almost from the rubber, but I have to really focus on getting the spin and the dip. Go! One more. Yo!
Conclusion. Thanks to Paul Drinkhall in helping us review the latest Tibhar Aurus Prime and Select rubbers. The Prime and Select both have an increased catapult effect when compared to the original Aurus rubber due to the thicker sponge, thinner top sheet combination. This new rubber formula of a thicker sponge and thinner top sheet allows for huge amounts of propulsion on the ball and makes for dangerous attacks. The Select's catapult effect is less pronounced than the Prime, but the Select has more control due to its softness and increased dwell time. The Prime gives you decent spin, making it easy to spin up backspin balls, whereas the Select gives you less spin, but the dwell time still makes opening up backspin balls relatively comfortable. The Select really helps in the short game department and on the backhand side, where it's easy to direct the ball exactly where you want it to go to, whereas the Prime is better suited away from the table in the top-to-top rallies and when playing strong finishing shots. As Paul mentioned in the review, the Select would be great for developing players who require high amounts of control. The Prime is suited for attacking players who struggle to cope with the high levels of speed that the MXP or something like the Tenergy 64 produces. The Prime is a powerhouse as expected with the thicker sponge ratio. The feeling, however, is somewhat different when comparing to the popular MXP. The MXP springs off the bat far more firmer and direct. The Prime is close to the speed of the MXP, but you can feel the ball more on the sponge with the Prime. For me, the Prime feels more of a tamed and controlled version of the flagship MXP. The Prime and Select are high performance rubbers, but as you can see from the review, they lack a bit of power. These two new rubbers have added more range to the Aurus series that now cater for beginners to high level players. If I had to choose which rubber I'd use from Tibhar right now, I'd still choose the MXP for me, as I like to play direct and fast. However, I really think the Prime is a great alternative for players who find the MXP a bit too fast and want something with more dwell and control. Be sure to like, share and hit the subscribe button. Also check out our equipment review centre, where you can review equipment yourself in the links below. Thanks for watching.